Good morning and welcome again. This is English 116, and my name is Michael Smith. I have been a student for 57 out of my 65 years, almost continuously. If God lets me live to the end of the year, I will have finished my classwork for my PhD in history, which is my 10th and final degree, and I'm going to retire as a student, hopefully. But I've been doing this a long time, so I know how to go to school. I know all the mistakes. If I can keep you from making the same mistake, I'd be very happy in that. So hopefully you'll learn more than just some English. Hopefully some things about writing, and that's one of the things, one of the goals of the class is to get everybody on the same page with our writing. You come from all kinds of different backgrounds, and you were lucky if you had one good English teacher in high school, and consider yourself blessed if that were the case. But not everybody's that blessed. And so there are certain standards. I mean, you can write the way you want to at home or whatever else outside of work, but in your workplace, you need a professional way to do things. And so that'll be one of the things that we're working on. There is a writing protocol sheet on Moodle, which I'll show you in a moment, that you need to go by, and how your stuff's supposed to look, even down to the spacing, the font you use, the size of the font. All those things have a professional aspect to them that are really important to you being a proper professional. So hopefully that will be helpful to you as we move forward. This is a good class. It's a review in many respects. Most of you have had English in high school, and you may not remember much of it, but you will as you go through the reviews and look at different things. You do need the textbook, and the textbook is this nice giant book here. You can get it, I think they have them online and in hard copy. It also serves as a great doorstop in the summertime if you want to prop your door open. But there are some things in there, and your quiz and various exercises will utilize the textbook. So you do need that. You cannot get through the class without the textbook. So two things I've talked to you about is attendance and the textbook. And then let me talk to you a little bit about the class. Isabel's had me before. Have I had anyone else before in another class? Heidi, have I had you before?
No, sir.
Okay. Your first name's familiar, your last name wasn't. I teach a number of classes. Last year I had, last term I had 88 ethics students and then 88 in the RN program. So I had 160 something students, and I'm about to hit the grading for that today. So I'm not happy with that. Plus I've been in Ohio this weekend for a funeral. I had to drive 9 hours there, 9 hours back. Left on Thursday, got back yesterday late. And so I'm kind of a zombie today. So I apologize for low energy, but it was quite interesting. Had to go over the mountains through West Virginia, through the turnpike, all that great stuff to get to Dayton to speak in a funeral service, and left the service. Service was 5 hours long, but we left the service and drove right back. So I'm kind of a zombie today, but I'll try to make up for that. But so anyway, we're going to talk about how the class is done. I am usually, for those of you that ask the question, how long this class last, I'm usually done with 30 to 40 minutes. So usually it's more like the 30 than the 40. So if you're making plans to work or whatever, you can kind of figure on that Monday through Thursday, and we're done. So let me share my screen with you, and let's look at some of how we want to do things. Okay, so this is what your class looks like in Moodle. Let me say this to you about Moodle. If you don't have experience in Moodle saving documents and things, you've got to get that pretty quickly, and it's important. Do not, I've had to say, well, I can't do that, so I just don't do anything. Doing nothing is not an option. It's absolutely essential that you perform. I mean, you've got to have something to grade. So let me encourage you to get some help with Moodle if you have a problem with it. If you have a problem with Microsoft Office, that is what we use. I cannot open Pages. If you're using a MacBook, you need to go to the school and get a copy of the Microsoft Office for Mac software, which they have for you, but everything has to be in a Mac document. or I cannot open it to grade it. So please keep that in mind. The other thing you need to understand about technology is that when we're dealing with writing and you're doing margins and you're doing indents and you're doing double spacing, your phone and your pad do not operate the same way that a desktop or a laptop does. So they'll screw it all up. Now, let me tell you how to get around that. Take your document, save it as a PDF, and upload the PDF to Moodle. That will preserve your documentation, everything the way it should be, and it should be a little bit easier with that. If you need help on how to do a PDF, you can also get some help at school for that, but you're actually printing as a PDF. It's under the print function and not under the save function. Okay, first page of Moodle, this is my bio, this is my phone number, this is my email. I expect you to use those. I do not put my stuff up and run from you. Don't run from me. There's nothing worse in the world than running from a teacher who's trying to help you, right? So let me encourage you to ask for help. Okay, so this is your syllabus. This is the Bible for the course. If you want to know how much each section counts, look at the syllabus. It's contained there. There are a couple helpful tools here about navigating the virtual library, plagiarism checker. This one is a lifesaver. I really, if I could force you to download this, I would. Grammarly to your computer. It will help you with your grammar and your spelling and your sentence structure, and over time will actually help you to improve that. So it is really, really important, and I use it every day. I mean, I'm writing, my papers are 25 to 30 pages long, and so I still use it because there is no finish line in writing. You're going to be making a difference the longest day you live. You're going to be working on writing. So that's really, really important. People judge you not only by how you speak, but how you write. We're going to talk about that in week 1. So you really do have to think in professional terms when you're working in the public. You don't want them, you think about, would you put you in the first space in a business? Would you put you if you were the owner and the employee was like you are, would you want you at the front desk greeting customers as they come through the door for the first time? You are the first impression that person has. I think most of you are in vet tech, so that means you're going to be dealing with pet owners who are much like dealing with parents of children that are sick, sometimes worse. And so you have to be able to meet just about anybody. You guys live in Cleveland. You're a melting pot. You're going to meet people of other cultures, and you're going to talk about other forms of English other than what you know. So we're going to talk about all of those things and how you deal with that. There are 2 very important documents here, and I'm going to open one of these, the expectations, just to let you see it. Okay, there we go. We're coming up on this. Okay, so you should be able to see the court. This will tell you about doing discussion boards, about proper etiquette, about what's required. Remember, when you're doing the things we talk about for homework, these are 100-point questions. So you've got to give a 100-point answer. That means not just a sentence, not just 2 words, but you need to write a decent paragraph, and we'll talk about that when we get to the discussion. So you can see what you can expect here. This is new, and Isabel, you've had me before, so you're the only one really affected by this. I'm not doing the same things I was doing before with very lenient turn-in policy, because I figured out this past time it doesn't help the student, and they don't appreciate it. The more space you give someone to turn something in, the longer they take. They still work the night before at 2 minutes till the deadline, and then want me to extend it again. So from that bad experience, we're going to go back to this. All work is due on Sunday night at midnight, which is the standard, it's always been. And then if you turn it in after Sunday night midnight to Monday midnight, it's going to be penalized 10%. And if you're after Monday night to Tuesday midnight, it's going to be 20%. I'm not taking any work after Tuesday night for the week. We are a 3-week program. We don't have time to do this. It's a turn and burn. This course would be 18 weeks at another school. So that means we've got lots of things that we have to get done, and we don't have time to fool around. So please read this about and let me tell you this. I was thinking about this while I was driving this week. I've been in school 57 years, so I know every excuse in the book. We tend to make excuses and come up with these horrible stories to get an extension. Let me tell you something. Part of what you're learning and going to school is how to work through the mess in your life. Everybody has it. It happens every day. I've had 1,000 times that something happened to me. I had to work through it. So you still have to meet your deadlines. But let me encourage you to be responsible, to have the attitude to get stuff done and get it done on time, because an employer is not going to give you time to, for all these things. You're not going to get to go out and smoke and do all the stuff that you want to do. I mean, you do what you own. He owns you. When you clock in at 8 o'clock in the morning till you clock out at 5 in the afternoon, you're expected to be on his schedule. You don't have cell phones in the workplace and chat with your friends. If you do, you're going to get fired. So you have to learn to work under whatever program it is that you've got and the time frame that you've got it in. BMW, for instance, when I worked there, they had, if you were late, the line went up at 7:30, and at 7:30 it started. If it had to shut down because you weren't there yet, it was $10,000 a minute. How long do you think they're going to keep you if that's a continual practice? Not long, right? So we need to learn the discipline of being on time, being regular, all that. Okay, so that was course expectations. This other document is the writing document. This is new as well. I expect you, this is a formal English class, so I expect you to use formal methods of writing. That means that for the pages we're writing, you should have a cover sheet. You should get rid of the MLA little box up in the corner with your name and the school and all that stuff. That is no longer, you can throw that out the window. You'll never use that again. Your field uses APA. So APA means if you've got a document, you need a cover sheet for it. All the bio data goes on the cover sheet. That also means you write in double space. That means you indent the first sentence of each paragraph. You don't leave a bunch of blank space on the page. You don't come down 15 lines and start typing. You start with the first line you have at the top, and you don't have 15 tons of space between paragraphs. That is my pet peeve in the world, is all the wasted space on a page. Use the page, fill it up. It looks nice. It is appropriate for turning it in or handing it to somebody. That is the standard. So let me encourage you to be sure that you do that. I will show you tomorrow how to do the spacing on Microsoft Office, how to do page numbering, how to do double spacing. I'll show you all those things if you don't know already. But when I went into BMW in 1996, we barely had internet. 5 years. We barely had Microsoft Office. And they looked at me and said, you either learn Microsoft Office or we're going to replace you. That was my comeuppance, and I had to learn it on the fly. So basically, it's really important. Okay, week 1, you have your objectives here that are important. Learn your learning tools. This is the chapters we're going over in this week. Remember, this is a 3-week course out of 18, so we're just really picking and choosing. These will be the slides that you and I talk about in our class meetings every day. There's a copy of those if you want them. And then there are 3 little videos here for review. 8 parts of speech, adverbs and adjectives, dependent and independent clauses. Be sure you watch those and let me know you've watched them sometime during the week. So there is a first day quiz. This has to be taken today. It is a 1-pointer. It is bonus points, but it is your check-in to the class. It will ask you these questions. Have you read the syllabus? Have you read the class expectations? Do you have your book and materials? That's all it's on this quiz, but it has to be taken today to check you into the course. There's also a place here to put your bio, and I have put mine up, so if you want to read that, you just go to submit or add discussion topic, and when you do, it will give you a drop-down box. You can cut and paste it into the box, and then hit enter, and you don't have to, but you can respond to your classmates if you want to read theirs and find out who's in the room. It helps create a little bit of community that we kind of know each other. So that's important in an online class always. Okay, so you will have under your deliverables, you will have 4-5 things a week to do. These things are extra, like the first day quiz in the bio. You only do this one time. You will have each week a discussion board, 2 discussion boards, and you'll have 2 writing assignments and a quiz. The discussion boards have to be done by Sunday night. They cannot be extended. When you click on this, it will open up for you. It will talk about some scenario. I talk about being from South Carolina and being from the country and being Southern. And yet I talk like that. I speak like that. And people judge me based on that. So it's funny traveling through West Virginia, first place I've ever been where I wasn't discriminated against because their language is worse than mine. But people judge you by the way you speak. So when you work in a public place, you need to have a professional language, a professional way of speaking. So you're just going to write about here and talk about what that means. What do you think is true that people judge you by the way you speak? You want to write a full page, nothing on that page but this account. You want to write in paragraphs. You want to indent your paragraphs. You don't want any wasted space. And you want it spelled correctly. You want to edit it. Never turn anything in that you haven't edited, and you need a cover sheet on it. Now, you don't do cover sheets as 2 separate entities. I will show you tomorrow how to do it all in one document. Seems to be a major problem. All right, so this counts 100 points. 70 points of that will be your initial post. Now, you don't need a cover sheet for this. I'm sorry, this is your discussion board. So this is just a paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences. I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. You do need to spell check it. You don't have to worry about indenting it. You don't have to worry about double spacing it. You can do single space for discussion boards. You don't have to do any of that, but you do need to write at least 125 words in your initial post. All right, so that's the first point. Second point is you need to read and respond to 2 of your classmates. These guidelines are in the expectation sheet about length, so be sure you look at those. So once someone has posted, then you can, if you're going to reply to them, you just simply hit reply. You initially post your own, and then you will respond to 2 of your classmates, and those 2 things will give you your other 30 points for the 100 points. So you have 2 of those. You got this one about speaking correctly, and then the second one, it will be the same way. You just open it up, and it will give you a scenario, but it talks about taking ourselves seriously. Now, let me tell you something about professionalism. If you don't take yourself seriously, why do you expect someone else to? If you don't take yourself seriously as a student, and this is a big deal because I have students every week, every term that just play and wander through, never turn work in, halfway show up, end up failing, going on to the next one until they flunk out. You're not taking yourself seriously when you're doing that. You're wasting your time. You need to be serious about what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. So that's what that one's about. You're just going to talk about what does that mean for me to focus. That doesn't mean you don't have a life. That doesn't mean you don't have a job. You don't have kids. You don't have a partner, whatever it is you do. You learn to manage your life because you learn to manage stuff at school. Life is not a let's do one thing at a time. Do we get that done? Move on to the next. No, it is multitasking. So you have to keep up with your partnership. You have to keep up with your children. You have to keep up with your job. You have to keep up with school. And then the 900 other things. And maybe you have time for some leisure if that's all done, but you've got priorities. So let me encourage you to make school your priority. Let me tell you something personally. When I was born in Pickens, South Carolina, we were so far back in the woods, we did not even have indoor plumbing. I got on the bus as a 6-year-old at 6 o'clock in the morning and rode the bus through the mountains for 2 hours to get to my elementary school. Did the same thing again in the afternoon. I know that sounds like a story your mom and dad used to tell you, and they were true. They weren't lying to you. You may not believe it, but that's true. But I had to get out of there. I had to pull myself up by my own bootstraps. I had to get an education. Education is the key to whatever it is you want. That means the education, not the piece of paper, because you can get the piece of paper and not get the education, and that's scary. But it has been done. But you really do need the education if you want people to take you seriously. So that's what you're writing about in this discussion board. You'll respond again to 2 of your classmates. All right, first paper is a 1-pager, and it needs a cover sheet. This is a narrative essay. It's 5 paragraphs. Follow the directions, Times New Roman, 12 point. Don't mess with the margins on your computer. It defaults to 1 inch. Don't go in there and fix them because you'll mess them up. Pick a topic you're interested in. This is just something you enjoy. Your dream car, your favorite food, your favorite vacation, your favorite husband, whatever it is. You're going to write 1-page double-spaced essay about that, and you're going to have paragraphs, and you're going to spell check it, and you're going to turn it in, and that's going to be that assignment, okay? You could do that in a 20-minute sit-down, honestly. I would definitely download Grammarly to help me with spell checking stuff. All right, your second writing assignment for the week is going to be this one, and this is homework number 2. And here, what do you feel are your greatest strengths and weaknesses when it comes to writing and speaking? How would you rate your computer skills? Please write a reflection answering these questions. The starting point for change and improvement is to realize where you are. Again, 1-page, double-spaced, Times New Roman, use paragraph, indent, have a cover sheet. Okay, there's not a lot of right and wrong answers in any of this, but you do have to do the job. I mean, I'm not going through grading. Well, that's the wrong answer. That's right. No, you make the effort. You do what I ask you to do. You get your points. You understand? It's not something that you can't pass. All right. Now, the last thing is our quiz. And the quiz is on the chapters that are mentioned above for reading. It is open book. You have 2 opportunities to take it, and you get the higher of the 2 grades. I don't think I can be any more fair than that. So that is basically how the class operates. Excuse me for a moment. Let me stop the tape, and we'll have a chat.